Suspensa vix via fit is Latin for a suspended way made with difficulty. Now, that's the inscription that sits on top of the Clifton suspension bridge, a feat of Victorian engineering that became the symbol of a city. But as that slightly tongue-in-cheek inscription would suggest, building this world-famous structure wasn't an easy task. On an average day, the Clifton Suspension Bridge welcomes over 10,000 vehicles and pedestrians, but today is no average day. Today it's closed for its annual checkup, so I'm making use of this incredible opportunity to explore this impressive structure and unearth some of the secrets of one of Bristol's most famous landmarks. The Clifton Suspension Bridge was designed by famed English engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel. It stands over the River Avon, connecting the fancy Clifton village in Bristol with Lee Woods in North Somerset. Brunel's bridge is over 150 years old, and its senior years and Grade 1 listed status means that keeping the bridge in good condition is a top priority. So right now I'm about 245 feet above sea level, but the people up there are more like 320 feet above sea level. Now, the view up there must be incredible, but I think my toes would be starting to curl. But what they're doing up there is checking the chains very carefully for any signs of wear and tear. Regular checks like these are important tasks which need to be completed often, and today's work is done under the watchful gaze of Trish Johnson, the current bridge master. And since taking on the role in 2016, she's overseen many projects bringing the Victorian structure into the 21st century. So Trish, it's been a busy tenure for yourself as bridge master, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've been here now just over 3 years, so it's been a busy 3 years. So what we've done quite a bit of painting. So the longitudinal girders, which you can see here, they've all been painted at the top. We've done the underneath the bridge as well. All the cross girders have all been painted as well. Contactless was brought in, or has been introduced at the beginning of this year, which has been a great success. I think everybody's very pleased that we've moved with the times and introduced some technology to the bridge. And obviously the big thing at the minute is our toll houses, which we are nearing completion.
But all of this modernisation has to be done very carefully because it's a Grade 1 listed structure, and a lot of people care about this bridge.
That's right, it's a Grade 1 listed structure. So anything we do, any bolt we turn, any pitted paint we put on, we need to get permission from Historic England, because we need planning permission for some of the bigger projects. So we had to go for planning for the toll houses and make sure then that when we build it, it's in keeping with the heritage of the site and what we've got here. And as well as that, we're always mindful of the fact that it is a huge tourist attraction. So even when we are doing work, we have to make sure that we allow public access and people to be able to walk across the bridge safely.
So what is it like for you being tasked with looking after one of Britain's best loved bridges?
When you put it like that, it's quite nerve-wracking, really. But it's been a real honour, or it is a real honour, to be bridge master for the Clifton Suspension Bridge. I've done a lot of bridges in the past, so I quite like the bridges. But to be looking after such a historic bridge is a great honour, and I know I've got a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and hopefully I will keep it and maintain it for many years to come.
Upkeep of the bridge is something Trish and her dedicated team has under control, but the initial building of this 1,500-ton structure wasn't so easy. But to fully understand that, we're going to have to go back to the 19th century. Bristol was a fast-growing city, and the people that lived here needed a new way of getting across the water. A bridge built across the Avon Gorge would connect the city with Somerset and be high enough to ensure that tall ships could still sail into the harbour. In 1829, a competition was announced to find the design for the new bridge across the gorge, and some incredible designs were submitted. Look at this one, for example. But none of them were quite suitable. It was only after a second competition was held that 23-year-old Isambard Kingdom Brunel submitted his winning design and was appointed project engineer. Work began on the 21st of June 1831, but it would be 33 years before completion. Sir Abraham Elton of Clifton Court called the bridge the ornament of Bristol and the wonder of the age. But I'm sure the people in the city down there must have looked up at the unfinished structure, wondering what had gone wrong. They started on the towers first, but by the autumn, Bristol had erupted into a 3-day riot, which knocked the confidence of investors and work stopped. Five years later, and work began once more, but all that stood were the two unfinished stone towers and a 300-metre-long iron bar which stretched all the way across the gorge. And people would actually pay to get across to the other side in a basket suspended beneath the iron rod, and it looked like for a long time that that was the only way anyone was getting across the gorge. By 1859, Brunel was dead. He would never see his bridge completed. His fellow engineers decided that completing his one unfinished project would be the best memorial. And as luck would have it, Brunel's other bridge in London, the Hungerford Suspension Bridge, was to be demolished, which meant that its expensive iron chains were up for grabs. The bridge was finally opened to the public on the 8th of December 1864, using those wrought iron chains acquired from the Hungerford Suspension Bridge, which were only 15 years old at the time. But even today, more than 150 years on, they're still strong, lying deep underground, holding that bridge across the gorge. And it's one of the first things that I think about when I think of Bristol. It's one of the first things that I saw when I first came to the city, driving through the Cumberland Basin, then boom, you see the Avon Gorge and you see the Clifton Suspension Bridge. And although Brunel never got to see the bridge finished, I'm sure he'd feel very proud to know that his Clifton Suspension Bridge would be standing proudly across the Avon Gorge for many years to come.